Hey guys, welcome back to the Northeast Florida surf fishing forecast for November 6th through the 8th. This video was taken on November 5th in the afternoon. As you can see, it is rough. This is in Jack's Beach next to the Jack's Beach Pier. And the seaweed is back, guys. It hadn't been bad for the last few days, but yesterday afternoon and today it showed back up with a vengeance. The beach is littered with it. The water is covered in it. Surf right now is 3 to 4 foot, as you can see, and it's only going to pick up from there. The last few days have actually been pretty good fishing though on the low tide. Whiting, redfish, some pompano, black drum, tons of bluefish. There's still mullet around, still plenty of sandfleas around. If you need sandfleas and you live in the Jack's Beach area, check out next to the pier at low tide. They're hanging around the pier. What's up, guys? Plenty of sandfleas. I'm at the Jack's Beach Pier along this huge trough that runs under the pier, and the sandfleas are piled along it, right along the trough. Just getting some so I can freeze them up. I just got here. So if you need some, this is where they're at. As you can see from that video, I was there probably 10 minutes and scooped a few times and had, I think, 15 dozen sandfleas that I packed up. So I'm getting ready for the winter, so I'll still have the sandfleas, so the whiting and sheephead and drum will still eat them. So with the water temperature right now at 75 degrees, and the extended forecast, really, it looks like 75 to 80 degree temperatures each day for the high. So that water will not really drop anymore for a while until we get a next cold front. So the sandfleas will be here, guys, and so will the mullet. So if you haven't had a chance to go get some sandfleas, now's the time. It is going to be rough the next, rough the next several days. Friday, we were calling for east-northeast winds at 15 to 20 with 3 to 4 foot surf. Then Saturday, east-northeast 20 to 25 with 5 to 6 foot surf. Then on Sunday, east 20 to 30 with 7 foot surf. And if the forecast holds true on Monday, we could be talking about 10 foot surf. So it's going to be near impossible to fish probably Sunday and Monday if the forecast holds. Right now, as you saw today, it was pretty high, but at the low tide, I was able to fish, and about 30 minutes after the tide turned, the seaweed was unbearable. So guys, if you're gonna fish, you really gotta fish the last hour and a half of the outgoing, and once it turns, the seaweed comes right back in. The beach was covered in it, and it's gonna be like that up and down the coast right now with all this east wind. So if you are gonna fish Friday afternoon, the low tide, I'll have the tides at the end of this video. The tides, I think between 5 and 6 will be the low. So you can either get out there, well, no, don't go out there early Friday morning because the tide will be coming in already and the seaweed will be everywhere. We got a pretty strong current, even with the northeast winds. Today the current was south to north, so everything was headed to the north. And that probably won't change. It'll be south to north for a while because I think eventually it's turning to the southeast. So down south of us, it must be blowing harder out of the southeast versus the east and pushing it up this way and pushing tons of seaweed. So for the next few days, if you like to eat seaweed, it'd be a good time to go get some. Not really though. So if you do go and fish, remember, low tide. Once the tide comes in, seaweed galore. But there are some really nice whiting. The last picture of the photos was what I caught in about an hour and a half. Sheephead, drum, and whiting. The 3 whiting were all around 16 to 17 inches on sandfleas. The last 2 weeks, all I've used is sandfleas. The fish are absolutely gorging themselves on these sandfleas, guys. So if you haven't tried them, you need a rake, or you can use your hands and fish with those. I use a double hook dropper rig that I make. When I'm fishing for the whiting, drum, and sheephead, I don't use any beads or anything. It's just straight up fluorocarbon with the owner J hooks that I've shown before, and a 3 to 4 ounce storm sinker on the bottom, or a Sputnik if it's super rough surf. So that's how I fish them. And now, of course, if I'm going for the Pompano, I add the beads or the floats. Those Pompano are great visual feeders, so they like that kind of thing. Also, the mullet are still around, so are the reds. Adam caught that nice red using cut mullet in Neptune Beach, I believe. So bring your net. There's mullet in shallow. Remember, like I said, low tide, and you can either cut the mullet up or throw them out whole. There's still speckled trout. Tons of bluefish showing up right now in the surf. Some nice ones. Paul had a 17-incher. It's a good sized blue. I've seen a couple of 20-inchers caught also earlier in the week. If you can't hit the surf, but you still want to fish, try the inlets right now in the river. Quite a few reds, trout, and flounder are coming up, as well as sheephead. If you are looking for sheephead, what you need to do is find a bridge maybe you can fish from, like Nassau Sound. You can fish there. A lot of sheephead come up off of that bridge there, along with drum, flounder. Catch a lot of whiting. You could also head down to Flagler Pier. It's going to be rough though, so I would suggest calling them ahead of time. Also, if you want to take a drive, Matanzas Inlet has a nice area of the fish along the bridge there, and they catch a lot of fish in there. Now the current does run pretty strong, but when it slacks off, some real nice pompano and whiting come up off that bridge, as well as sheephead. Just a few different options to think of, because if the surf is going to pick up like this, it's going to be pretty unfishable, even on the low tide. I mean, 5 to 6 foot surf, and then you add on seaweed, makes for a not so fun surf fishing time. But what it will do, guys, if we have 5 to 6 days of this constant surf, by the time it's over, you know, they need to go down to the beach at low tide and find the cut you want to fish, because there are going to be some absolute monster troughs and cuts formed after this. There's going to be a lot of sand moving, and there will be fish in these cuts at high tide. So to know where they're at, go at low tide and mark them, and then when the tide comes in, you'll know exactly where to throw the line. But other than that, I don't have much more for you guys. Just stay safe. We might have a possible hurricane hitting South Florida, and they don't really know what it'll do. So let's hope it doesn't happen and we get some wind, and that's it. But until next time, guys, tight lines, and if you got any questions, leave them in the video. Thank you.